Hello, welcome to a special episode of We Have Issues. I'm Anthony.
I'm Thor.
So welcome to the Halloween episode. Normally we record for about 2 hours. The editing goes really smoothly. For whatever reason, my software / my stupid brain couldn't figure out how to not make the video skip last week, and it was killing me. It broke my soul. I didn't get any writing done. I was literally staring at the computer trying to edit this like really terribly laggy video for hours at a time, and I was only getting like 5 to 10 minutes done at a time, and I just couldn't handle it. It was killing my soul. And so I got to the point where I was like, okay, I tried to chop up the video and export it, and it just took all of this time, and it was just soul crushing in the meantime. But while I finally worked through it, we got the last episode out. I had to cut out some things that I'd rather keep in, and it wasn't as pretty as it could have been. But whatever, that's what we're doing.
Yeah, there was a couple harsh cuts, but it is what it is. I mean, we're a podcast about working on a comic. The real goal is the comic, people. As much as it doesn't seem that way at times, that's the true goal that we're trying to accomplish.
That and obviously the Ostrich Colony. I feel like you're embodying the character. Like you are basically the dude from The Big Lebowski right now. I'm almost intimidating being next to like your presence.
Well, you know, man, that's just like your opinion. So.
Dude, it's so good though. I love that costume. Tina did a great job. It looks really
Thank you. The hair, man. Like, yeah. By the way, if you don't know, my amazing, incredible wife, who we just celebrated, because we've only been married for 3 years in January, which is because I'm a horrible human being and didn't propose to her. But yesterday was our 13-year date anniversary since we've been together. So
wow.
But yeah, she's an amazing hairstylist. So she greased up my hair with some texture paste, and she she braided all of it and then just teased it all with the comb, and it just did an awesome job.
Yeah, it totally works. It looks awesome, and I'm jealous, and also jealous of your 13-year awesome relationship. Yeah, we had some pretty good feedback from our episode last week about you and your relationship expert skills. So
which one of our fans is basically has the same story as me, which is awesome. So
really interesting. Well, first of all, it's really interesting that we have a fan.
Honestly, they're like my favorite 3 people in the world right now.
Yeah, that's true. We have to do something about that. We will draw you at some point. Steven will draw you at some point.
You will be honorable mentions.
That's right. So we know that I had issues with the editing and trying to fix the podcast. However, I completed my chapter.
Yeah. You got further than I did, buddy.
So what were your issues? How much did you end up getting done?
So I do have page 2 as it stands as we're recording the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Page 2 is basically final blued. I'll send that file to you so you can show them here. But I did not get the fine pencils done, which I did want to complete, and I did not complete that this week.
Failure. Combo breaker, Steven. We were doing it. We succeeded up until this point. I'm kidding. I literally sent you my stuff this morning. So
yeah, it's true. And honestly, today. Okay, so yesterday was our 13 years. So I went to we booked this thing at Cafe U, which I don't know. I'm sure we can say stuff like that. We booked this thing a month ago. It was a 6-course dinner. It was 55 a head or something like that. So I was let's do that for a date. It's literally on the same day as our date anniversary. Let's just do that. So the girls spent the night at their aunt and uncle's, and we went over there. We had a 6-course dinner. It was awesome. And then we
wait a second. I'm sorry. First of all, $55 for 6 separate courses sounds fantastic. But I can't, because I'm stupid and also poor, wrap my head around what 6 courses would be. I feel like 3 is...
It blew my mind, too, because dessert was 5. So, yeah.
Second dessert? Is there a second breakfast?
No, dude. So first, dude, it was fantastic. I'm going to try to remember... Actually, you know what I took? No, I didn't take a picture. Tina did, but... I'm going to try to remember what every course was, and you can feel free to edit this out if you want.
Let's do this. Course 1.
Course 1. It was a corn soup. It was I would say a smoky.
Course 2.
It was the salmon tartare. So it was a salmon tartare thing with sliced on. It was basically sushi without rice, pickled onion. It was amazing.
Course 3.
It was a Japanese style duck meatball with a mango puree, like mango ginger puree. Course 4, the filet mignon it was sous vide in green peppercorn, so it was like super tender. Had like a nice demi glaze with it. Course 5 was a chocolate torte with espresso ganache. So like this, like,
that sounds really good.
Amazing espresso. And then, dude, the final course was a cheese plate, and one of the cheeses, one of the cheeses was a truffled smoked Gouda, and it was like mind-blowing. Like, I'm gonna try to find it, and the next time you're over, we're gonna have some truffle smoked Gouda, because it was dumb. It was so dumb.
That sounds amazing, first of all. Now you can't promise me that and then not have it, so it's gonna happen. But that does remind me. So I was thinking about this the other day, where I was like, we've been doing this podcast for like almost 2 months now, and we haven't seen each other in a while,
dude. I feel like we satisfied the seeing each other itch by the podcast, but man, I haven't physically gotten to hug you in like 2 or 3 months. It's crazy.
Like it's funny because I'm like, I miss Steven. I talk to Steven every week, and it's great, but I miss Steven. I was just like Atlas and I need to go over your house and hang out.
For sure. Because, we need to set up a play date for sure.
I miss playing music in person.
Yeah, we haven't been able to really do anything on the music front.
Yeah.
Because of that too. Like, obviously, I mean, we'll see what happens when all's said and done with this particular comic, but the plan with this particular comic is to write like a short 4 to 6 song EP to basically coincide with the character and the songs that are happening in the issue. So that is the plan.
Let's talk about the music really quick, just because we haven't talked about it a lot on the podcast, and I've been thinking about it a lot. Do you think it should be all like diegetic? Like, should the songs be specifically, or should there be songs about the story itself, or should the songs simply be the songs that are on the record? Or should both?
So, Deer Hunter, the Deer Hunter does an awesome thing.
Okay.
Where he tells and like he tells the story, but then he has like these oracle characters that
I like that,
almost like a Shakespearean play or like something like that basically explain what's going to happen, like in like this ominous way. It's so awesome. At the beginning, of each of their albums, there's like these oracles that come and like basically explain to the boy like he needs to like not go any further, but he continues to go further because he's making horrible decisions. But yeah, maybe something like that. Maybe we could have not necessarily like an oracle style character, but like we could have like world building, basically.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say maybe what we can do is we can have consistency within like a few songs. Like maybe we can have a song like bookend it, and then have one in the middle of like a narration song where it's there's a consistency with tone and like the genre. So we can kind of have those 3 songs. Almost, they could even probably have the same music, but they would tell the story, and then the other songs we would have kind of like the record player sound, and we know that we're cutting it.
Yeah,
Which, how do you feel about that? Like, from what you've read in the script, we kind of cut back to that slide through time with the record player changing. How do you feel about that? Does that?
I'm nervous about capturing it, but I think I'll be able to. I think with like enough frames, like doing the hiccup, like I'm imagining like a bouncing disc, like something like that. So, but I think that's a really cool way to show like, hey man, you're not following the pattern. You're not Groundhog Daying properly. Like you need to, I'm going to keep resetting you basically until you get this right. And I think it's a really cool way to do it.
Okay. The new chapter, there were a couple of repeats. I get worried about like boring the reader or boring you. I know sometimes you're going to be able to like reuse panels and stuff. But what do you think as far as how it's reading about, how we're reusing moments and stuff? Do you think it's going to be okay?
Oh, yeah, and I think those are going to allow us to understand better of what's happening. We need to clearly show it's the exact same camera angle shot for shots. The reason why I'm not going full digital is I do want to have, like, if we do a Kickstarter, like when we do a Kickstarter, I do want to have, like, physical things and, like, things like that. So I'm like, really working on getting these full Bristol board 11 by 17 full-size boards, like, with fine pencils on them. So there is, like, actual original art that can be held.
I would like a couple of the pages for sure.
That's what and you were even saying that too, and that's true. Like, who knows how many we're actually, if we do a Kickstarter for the pages, who knows how many we'll actually put up. We'll probably want to end up keeping some. Like, I'm going to want to keep some of the originals from the first issue we publish, or we try to publish, basically,
I mean, we're going to publish, so it's,
regardless, right? It's going to be, if it's not through somebody, it's going to be through Ostrich Colony Comics. So.
I love Ostrich Colony Comics, which, by the way, check this out. But No, I really do like that. I think that it's helped me a lot to kind of gain the perspective of comics as being a job, like
Mm-hmm.
a career that you can kind of cultivate yourself
Yep.
through just simply doing it by simply working at it and putting the books on the market. It's a continuing job. It's it becomes passive income over time, and you just continue to work. I think I've always had like the faulty mentality of just like, we need to find the book that's going to get us published by Image, or we need to find the book that's going to get us published by Dark Horse and get us a job at DC, and all this stuff. But the truth is, if we make the books that we want to make, people are going to respond to them. They will find an audience no matter how small, and as long as we continue, I think that audience will stay with us and grow, and we'll see
If
what
you
happens.
book them, they will come.
Yeah,
Like basically, and like yeah, like we're trying to jump to the middle or the end of the story, and like we just need to live the journey, man. Like let's just
exactly.
like do it the right way, because that's the enjoyable part anyway. Like we're gonna look back if I'm not gonna say if when we become successful within the comic book industry. We're gonna look back at these moments as just like these treasured moments, like this little journey that we took. That we were both gonna wish we started sooner, but like,
Yeah.
dude, the story that I always tell myself whenever I think like it's too late, because I'm 33 now.
Mhm.
I always like think of why can't I think of his name? Snape.
Alan Rickman.
Alan Rickman. His breakthrough role as an actor was Hans Gruber at 47 years old.
Yeah, dude.
Like,
yep.
That's crazy. Like when he finally came, like, and like he became a household name. Like, so like no, it's never too late. Like it really isn't. Like people say that and it sounds like super like almost too hopeful, but no, it really never is too late. Like there's no rules to this life. As like I mean, like you just there's certain things you have to play by, like but like as far as like write the rules, man. Like do what you got to do what you got to do, basically.
Yeah.
You
I mean,
know.
not to mention, we define our own success. Like
Mm-hmm.
this when I stop and I think about my life just like in the moment, like this is awesome. I'm so much like I have so much fun doing this stuff with you, and
Mm-hmm.
that's like recognizing that the journey is just enjoyable. Like I love this, and I don't really care what the reward is at the end of it, because it's because what we're doing we enjoy and we believe in, so it is in itself its own reward, which is cool. And
Yeah,
I like that.
100%.
And I don't think that like everything I do in my life feels that way. Like I know like when I go to work, I don't feel like this is rewarding. I have to have other like a different perspective while I'm there in order to just get through it and enjoy it in some sense.
For
You know?
sure. Like I'm super thankful for my job. Like my job, like my hours that I work, like I'm off by 3:30 every day, Monday through Friday. My job affords me so much like evening opportunity to do
Yeah.
so many things. But like, yeah, I don't want to like be doing pavers forever. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to like it would be so amazing to like get paid to do your art. I mean, that's like I think every artist's dream, of course. I'm very thankful for where I'm at. I'm just at that point in my life now where I'm just afraid of losing stuff now.
Yeah.
I'm not like worried about like things I used to be worried about,
Yeah. Oh no, of course. I mean, I'm worried about losing stuff too. Like after we make this comic, when you realize that you can be doing art for other people and making a lot of money doing it.
I am loyal. My relationship is testament. Like I'm just loyal to the people I'm loyal to. Like there's no way. And I think it's going to be the other way around, because like I look at my own artwork and like, I mean, of course it's good for what I can do, but like I just, man, like, and like I think we discussed this a little bit. I don't know if we made the last episode, but like there's just such like you'll see other people's art, man, and it's just so discouraging. It's like they're so incredible, but then you gotta remember that some people probably look at your art that way too. Like you just gotta embrace your style, you just gotta, and like, but I think your writing is better than my pencil. But if you think it's the other way around, I mean, that just
I
makes
like that though. I think that's good, because that means we're kind of harmonizing in a way. That's it. I think I get compliment each other.
We basically have the Tina and Steven relationship.
For sure.
It's just with Anthony and Steven.
I get to finally be Steven, right? But I was thinking the second to last chapter of the book, the one I'm going to write next, you and Tina are both going to be in it, and it's going to be basically the very beginning of your relationship. I think it would be funny to kind of put a couple nods about how obsessed Tina is with you in there. But I mean, nothing too big. But yeah, so because the scene is going to be a fictional scene that's kind of like thematically real, and like conversations and the sort of stuff that we've talked about, but not in that time of our lives, you know. But it's going to be interesting. It's going to be basically about how I met, or when I met Voldemort, is the next chapter I'm going to have to write. By the way, BT dubs, by the dubs, I told Voldemort about this podcast and the fact that we call her Voldemort, because I definitely didn't want her to discover it like accidentally and have any kind of feelings about it. So I just brought it up to her and I told her and I explained, and she thought it was hilarious. So she gave us her blessing for, you know.
And that's something that is admirable for both of you, or admirable. I'm having a Fazimoto moment. But anyway, by the way, Fazimoto right here as well.
I don't know if you folks could see that at home, but Fazimoto.
But Fazimoto. But yeah, like I think it's awesome, like that you do have like this pretty awesome, like, as much as it is like a co-parent relationship, like where you guys are still like human to one another, basically. You're not like, you know, completely bitter.
Yeah. There's
no like hate or anything like that. It's a good situation. I mean, I would never come from you. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know what you mean. She's a monster and I tolerate her. No, I'm kidding. I would never say anything bad about her. Like, obviously, you know, like I haven't really talked about it on this podcast, like what happened. Because I don't know what's right there. I'm not sure how to like toe that, you know, that wire, you know. Just it kind of seems like I don't want to make her seem like a villain, or I don't want to make it seem like I'm trying to make her a villain. So it's, you know, but basically she did some things that were regrettable because we had like a distance in our relationship, and you know, she's shown remorse since, but it was, you know, we went way beyond the point of reconciliation. And yeah, so, you know, kind of just altered the trajectory of both of our lives forever. However, she's still the person I chose to ask to marry me. You know, she's the person I wanted, you know, to have a child with. We chose to have a child together. So it's, I don't know, I would never say anything bad about her. I don't think she's a bad person. I think that she's a person who did bad things, and there's a difference, you know?
Yeah, and that happens. I mean, people make poor choices. I made poor choices. Like, it just happens. But yeah, I'm just saying that's something I've noticed that's really awesome. I mean, it's like almost, it sounds wrong, but it's almost just expected that would be your response to handle. I wouldn't expect anything different from you, really. But yeah, it's just cool that's like you guys have a working relationship, basically.
Yeah,
that's cool.
So what people don't know is that no, I'm kidding. No, I know. It's funny because I think one of the most interesting things is, hopefully she doesn't listen to this. I don't want to hurt her feelings at all. So Voldemort did a thing that many people do, fall into a trap, and she did something that broke up our relationship. And after I left the house with my son, she was in a relationship with the thing that broke up our relationship. And then that thing died suddenly, just out of nowhere, suddenly was no longer a thing, which, I mean, it was like a perfect bow that the universe tied for me emotionally, because I was like, well, there's no turning back now. You know, no matter what happened in that situation, I would never feel like I was a choice that was made, you know? So, like, I know that at one point after what happened, I had to have the conversation with myself about forgiveness and what it means to, you know, love someone and move forward in a relationship despite things. And if you can get over certain, like, you know, certain things like infidelity, I've never had to do that before. And especially given that situation, the fact that we have a son and we were, you know, in the relationship we were in, I was at a loss. I didn't know what to do. And I was just like trying really hard to be a forgiving person and just love her regardless. But I got to the point where it's just like, I need to protect myself also and my son, and it felt like the right thing to do to move forward and on. And then after he died, I knew that there would never be a reconciliation because I'd always feel like a consolation prize, you know?
Yeah, like basically she's choosing him now because her other that's
so
yeah,
I as much as I know it hurt her and obviously his family, which is like awful, it helped me move on, and it was bizarre that I learned that I have the power to do that to people. Like, I'm like, you so, I did after that happened. I did like have some questions about my mental abilities and whether or not I wished a person accidentally. And I was just like, that's not something I would ever have considered otherwise. I'd never be like, I wonder if people have the ability to kill others with looks. Like, I never would have thought of that, but I did. I did consider it for a while. I was like, maybe I have this power. I hope to never use it again. Or do I? Obviously, you had a really busy week. It's Halloween time. It's spooky season, obviously. Every October and throughout the year. I watch horror movies randomly whenever they come out, and I don't really, I feel no shame. However, around this time, I do watch more horror movies, and I've watched a bunch this year because I'm a single person who doesn't have anything else to do but do this podcast, spend time with my son. But after he goes to bed, it's just time to watch horror movies. So every October, I watch a lot of horror movies. I've been watching so many movies. It's crazy. Like I watched The Wolf of Snow Hollow last night, which is a really good movie. But you know how there are some movies like, okay, I think Hot Rod's a perfect example of this. Like there's some movies that you're like, I love this. Not for everyone.
It's not for everyone. Cool beans, cool beans.
Like,
no, it's not for everybody.
It's not for everybody. And I think the funniest thing is like most things are, subjective to some extent where it's like most things aren't for everybody. But there are some things specifically that I'm like, this is so polarizing that there are going to be people who hate this, like people are going to hate this, but I like it, so I never know. I try to like recognize those and like where they fall on that spectrum and like whether or not I should share them with people, because sometimes I don't want to hear people's stupid opinions about things that I love.
Yeah, I just want to enjoy what I enjoy about it and like not have to hear what you have to say about it. Like, I'm 100% with you. In fact, like if I start reading comments, like if I just happen to like browse something and it just upsets me, it's like, because I don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Like if I watch something that's not my cup of tea, I just accept it as not my flavor and I move on. Like I don't go to like the page and like just like start ripping the writers or the actors asunder for their inability to do what I wanted them to do. That's just crazy to me. Like,
dude, like so long as everyone's having a good time, there's no reason to be a poopy pants about it. Like that's
100%. Like if you don't like it, don't like it. That's fine.
Every once in a while, I'll try to help someone gain some perspective. Like if someone's just like, okay, like Home Alone, right? Like let's just like like if there's someone who's just like, I only watch Terrence Malick movies and David Lynch films, and Home Alone is disgusting. And I'm just like, listen, it wasn't made for you. First of all, yeah.
John Hughes.
First of all, you're wrong.
Is a damn treasure.
John Hughes
was a damn treasure.
Yeah, he was.
Is still even after his death. So like, if you don't like Home Alone,
actually,
and stop telling me.
Exactly. Just stop. Just zip it up. Lock it up. Yeah, that was actually one of the first things that I should have acknowledged as a red flag with Voldemort, where she told me she didn't like Ferris Bueller. And I was just like, deep breaths. Most of my life has been inspired by Ferris Bueller. I was like,
it's not just Cameron alone. Cameron's life fuel. Okay,
I was like, do you understand that like I am Cameron and I aspire to be Bueller? Like this is my life here that you're talking about, and you're telling me that it's not for you. I should have recognized that as a sign, and I should have run away.
You should have butterwicked that situation. Is what you should have done.
Yeah, that's true. So there's this hypothetical creature we call Butterwick. He's not a real person by any stretch of the imagination.
but he's a sage.
Yeah.
He's a wise man.
Wise man. I just remember. So there was this. We were at this party once years ago, like just after high school. And Butterwick, who, by any measure, was not one that you'd imagine would ever turn away any attention. And if you looked at him, he'd be the character that they would typecast as like the dorky guy who gets made fun of a little in 80s movies. He's not even the main character, you know? So like if you were gonna cast him in a movie, you'd be like, that guy's not gonna get the girl by the end of this movie, and he's never gonna turn away a girl if he gets any attention. He's gonna fawn after them, run after them. However, that was not who Butterwick was. So we went to this party.
He's a strong man.
Butterwick made like a quick Star Wars reference, and a girl said, "Ew, Star Wars?" And Butterwick's response was, "You're not the girl for me." And he turned around and he walked.
You're not the girl for me.
He said, "You're not the girl for me." Turned around and he walked away forever. Which was
never looked at her again.
Never looked at her again. Still to this day, one of the best things I've ever seen another human being do. Like that was amazing. I was so happy in that moment to watch that happen. Rude, probably rude.
Probably smashed a table or something.
But oh yeah, he was also a hypothetical character who would sometimes smash tables and just destroy things, and he wasn't great all the time. However, that was amazing. So, but yeah, so how did we get to Butterwick? How did you? Hang on.
You should have known that Voldemort was not the girl for you because she did not like Ferris Bueller's Day Off, which is insane.
Yeah, so she didn't like Ferris Bueller. She actually didn't like any of the John Hughes movies, and I tried to just accept that and swallow it as like, because I have trouble with like subjective things, with knowing like, okay, maybe it's just because I grew up with these movies that they were very important to me. I don't even trust myself right now to say whether or not Breakfast Club is a good movie or a bad movie. I don't think I can do that. I don't think as someone who loves cinema and loves writing and could, you know, I adore filmmaking in general to the extent that like a lot of these books just are about screenwriting and directing and filmmaking. I cannot tell you if any of his movies are actually good, but I'll promise you that they're all brilliant and he was a genius. So I don't know. I didn't know how to feel about that. And I tried to just kind of, you know, I was falling in love with this person. So I was just kind of like completely ignoring red flags and just had, you know,
ignoring. The biggest red flags for you though. I mean, those are, I mean, like movies are your life, you know?
It's true. I really should, like, I have come to acknowledge, though, that, you know, if I don't share similar movie tastes and they're, like, similar TV show tastes as someone, or it's just, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. I've had those conversations with people. There have been people, I've met people who have just sworn that, you know, like, opposites attract, everything's fine. As long as we can, you know, enjoy each other's company, it's fine, you know. Not the case. I'm someone who I want to sit in front of the campfire and hear my stories, you know, like this is, it's the campfire of our tribe, you know, like these are our storytellers and our shamans, and I adore them and I love them, and I aspire to be among their ranks, you know? So when I meet someone who doesn't have that same reverence for storytelling and for movies and for TV shows, it's hard for me. I can kind of find like a balance with people who are like obsessed with books or obsessed with, you know, music, and like sometimes there's a balance there, but we have to have some sort of like mesh of, you know, complementary. Oh, I'm wiping off my makeup. But like complementary tastes. So that's the worst thing about wearing makeup. I can't touch my face at all, and it also makes you itch. Weird.
Yeah.
So
like whoever, like, come on. Whoever designed makeup, like, you couldn't have made it non-itchy.
Listen here, John L. Makeup Maker. No, but honestly,
maybe this becomes a podcast about making makeup.
Okay, let me explain what my next issue is about to be tonight. I'm going to have issues as soon as we're done with this podcast, because this isn't coming off. I'm going to try as best I can. I'm going to rub olive oil on my face. I'm going to put my whole head in like boiling water. I'm going to do anything I can to get this off, but I'm going to be a Smurf at work tomorrow for sure. Like there is no chance I am not. I'm
going to fire back. And Tina basically told me that my hair, because like she basically like she did the cool thing, but then she took like things like this and created like fake like dreadlocks with like. plastic hair ties and all this crazy stuff. So I'm going to be spending probably at least 15-20 minutes after this episode records pulling all that out of my hair. And then she says I have to brush all the paste out of my hair with a wet brush, and then I have to take a shower and brush it all out. And so yeah, it's going to be a process, and I got to do it again on Halloween too. But
yeah, well, alternatively, you could just wear it like that forever and be a model.
Yeah, I could.
Yeah. Actually,
Hold on.
What happened? Now you're just normal Thor, emo Thor.
This is my model. Hold on. Model.
Give it to us. Give us blue steel.
I kind of look like Gary Oldman when he's the drug kingpin in True Romance.
Drexel.
Yes. God, Gary Oldman's such a good actor.
Oh, he's so
crazy. Good. He's crazy good. He's going to become the next thing of our podcast, though, because I think it's like the second or third.
Yeah, we talked about him last episode. We talked about Gary Oldman becoming a werewolf/vampire character. Oh, so good. Yeah, Gary Oldman really is fantastic. I mean, there are some actors that just kind of disappear in the best way into the role, and it's kind of funny that I bet most actors do it if we really think about it, but we don't give them the credit, because it is actually more rare that I look at an actor and I'm like, what?
I was just thinking like actors disappeared to the role. I was thinking like one of like Zoolander's roommates in the first like sequence of Zoolander was like really into his role, and like we don't know like how good of a male model he played. Like he's like not even a male model maybe, and like he like sold us. Like
yeah, well, okay, any of those roommates could have just been normal. Dude, it could have been you just perfectly acting like a male. It seemed as if they just hired these people and they are those characters. That's how good of an actor those people are. It is kind of amazing though when we never see people again. It's weird.
No, they're just gone.
Yeah, they're just gone forever.
Orange mocha frappuccino, and then playing with gas, and that was the last time we saw them.
Maybe they're really method actors. They got really whole lifetime. So rest in peace, Zoolander.
Could you imagine dedicating your entire life to a 5-minute sequence in a movie?
Yeah,
like Zoolander.
I feel like Christian Bale does that every time he gets cast in a movie. He's like, this might be it. This might be it for me.
And they're like, no, Christian, you don't really need to go all out. He's like, no, I'm gonna eat tuna. I'm gonna get real skinny. It's gonna be great. Don't worry. But we don't really need you to be that skinny. He's like, no. I'm gonna starve myself with cigarettes and tuna.
I think in the future, like people will have to just never write Christian Bale as dying as a character or Daniel Day-Lewis. We're in trouble. Just like don't like let him. You know what? Okay, so the best idea. I know this is not a social issue podcast. However, let me solve all the world's problems right now and just tell you all we have to do is get someone to write a story in which our world becomes perfect and then give it to one of these method actors and just let them go into politics. like if you don't think for a second that Gary Oldman could be the best president of the world if he's trying to be the best president in the world, you're wrong. Like he could solve all of it. Like if you want to cure cancer, just go tell any one of them. Go be like, hey Joaquin, here's the script. Your character cures all these diseases. Guess what's gonna happen? No diseases.
He's gonna dance down a flight of stairs, and all cancer is gonna disappear. Okay, that's what's gonna happen.
Let's just be honest. Has anyone tried to dance down a flight of stairs to cure diseases?
I've done it 3 times and nothing as of yet. But maybe it's not my goal. I'm not a method actor. I'm tapping into a power I do not have. It's probably what's happening.
We talk about that. I mean, it's a little more serious, but like I have a personal issue with like talent being an inherent thing in people, and I think my only reason for that is because I'm afraid that I don't have talent myself and that I have to work on everything. So I'm like, no. Talent's not real. If you work, you can be just as good as everyone else. I don't know if that's true. I know that like there are some things that like, okay, let's just say if you have like more dexterity in your fingers, you might be more likely to be a piano player. You might be someone who has it more, who can play more easily. And learning piano comes more naturally to you because your fingers are naturally more flexible. It doesn't hurt. You don't have to put in as much work. Therefore, it's easier. So you do have that benefit, and therefore talent. It could be that way with everything. I don't know. What do you think about talent? Like, do you think that there are like some people who will never be artistic, and it
might even talent like natural, like prodigy talent might even just be someone that understands the thing that you'll eventually understand before you understand it. You know what I'm saying? Like, so like a prodigy drummer might just feel that beat, and eventually you'll unlock that lesson later on in life. Someone might know a technique or something that's just going to open your mind. Like, but I don't know. I think I would say, just like anything else in the world, they're just like in video games. Everyone always says, like, unless you're doing, you know, you have to follow the meta, like, and, you know, you have to do this, and that. But the truth is, like, the top, like in video games, for an example, the top ranking players make up 4% of the population of the players, right? So like in the world, those prodigies that exist that are born, like, they're going to make up like the top echelon, like they're going to be the 1%, you know. There's still that above the 50th percentile group of people that are not prodigies and are just people that worked hard at it. Like, I feel like Tina's a great example of like willpower versus like natural talent, supposedly, because like things come easy to me, but I've always considered myself like a jack of all trades, a master of none. Like, I can like dip my toes in everything, but I can't really get better at it than the above average in that subcategory, you know. And Tina's just one of those people that, like, she doesn't have like a natural knack just to pick up anything, but the things that she focuses on, she's like flawless at. So like, I don't know, like
well, it's there's that Malcolm Gladwell book, The Outliers, where he talks about the 10,000 hours. And the idea isn't just that like you randomly do a thing for 10,000 hours and you're magically like amazing at it, but it's if you do a thing purposefully, like with the intention of improving and actively trying to do better, you will basically be a master at it after 10,000 hours. That's just like the number that he derived from studying like the Beatles and a few other bands and a few other hockey players and different people. But I think there's some truth to that as far as like consciously trying to improve, because I realize like something like guitar, for instance, I rarely consciously try to improve my guitar skills. So like they kind of plateau, you know, which sucks for like writing music. And that's why I like when we write music, I try to consciously get better as a writer. So like I think my lyrics and like my songwriting gets better, but I think that I always need you because you're better at consciously improving at guitar. You know, like you like
the technical stuff.
The technical stuff, like, I mean, you over me, you will always learn like the Coheed and Cambria songs, like just basically note for note, and, you know, do your best. Whereas I will be comfortable faking something by myself as long as I can like sing along to it, you know? So, and I think like because of that, my improving, like my gradual escalation as a guitar player just plateaus, whereas yours will continue to grow ever, you know, like incrementally depending on how, you know, intense you decide to practice.
And I was actually talking about that with Tina recently too. Like, as an artist, for yourself, like I feel like some artists like have the benefit of just focusing on that one art form that they really enjoy, like painters and stuff like that. Like they just paint, you know what I'm saying? Like, but like for us, I mean, you're like in the same boat as me. Like,
for sure,
I would say music is just as important as my drawings. You know what I'm saying? Like, so like, or like my pencils and things like that. So like, have you ever noticed, or have you ever felt like when you put too much energy into one, like you lose some of your edge in the other? Like, I feel like I have weeks like that.
Yeah, I think that's a big fear of mine, and I think it's for me personally, that's kind of manifested it the most with drawing and writing, because I have to spend a lot of time drawing my comic book, and then by the time I'm done drawing a full issue, when I actually like have time and energy to write again, I feel like I'm rusty, and then I really get upset with myself because I prefer to write, you know? So I'm like, I've been slowly improving my art, which is good and makes me feel better about the books, but then I'm worried that the next issues aren't going to be as good, you know, as with the writing. So I've been trying to be a little bit better about flexing those muscles, or like, you know, like doing like kind of exercising those muscles, you know, to try to maintain and to, you know, continue with my writing while I'm drawing. But it's really hard to do both. Like you know, because it's like a time management thing. It's, you know, opportunity costs. Like, as the more I draw, the less opportunity I have to write, and the more I write, the less opportunity I have to draw. And, you know, in the meantime, I do always feel like, you know, something's on the back burner, and it sucks. I like to think that that like there's still like a gradual notch growing on either, and that I'm just not appreciating that gradual growth because I want it to be faster, you know.
Yeah, and I just hope there's almost like a checkpoint that you
Yeah.
can reach in one before, like, so you don't drop below that point, like in
Right.
Sonic or something like that. But like drawing for me, for example, because I hadn't drawn in like a couple years, like from like our last comic,
Yeah.
basically. Like I mean, I doodle, but I didn't like draw for like a
Right.
long time. And I drew the first page and the second page, and then like I was like, drawing hands and stuff again. I'm like, why am I having such a? And then like I remember, I'm like, oh yeah, like these like, and this is gonna sound so stupid, but like just a simple like doing 3-dimensional shapes first and like things like that. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember I used to use this technique like all the time when I was like drawing scavengers and absentees. But like I like had forgot that little lesson I had taught. Like even like something as simple as like 1-point perspective, I had forgotten the rules on that, and like and I was like, oh yeah, I used to do this all the time. Like this is nothing. Like I don't understand why I forgot this, and it's because of all that time I wasn't doing it. But now, since I've been drawing so much lately, dude, like when I play guitar, like, and I've been playing like a lot, for example, I've been playing a lot of acoustic guitar lately. And like, so then when I go back to playing like my electric, like I feel so sluggish. Like I'm just like, because the same techniques aren't there, and like, I'm like, man, like there's just not enough time in the day, like for me to like enjoy these varying art forms. And it's been frustrating lately.
Yeah, I asked on Twitter, like when people like other writers and creators with children, like how they manage, because I have trouble juggling, my creative life with my parental life and my work life. So, and I mean, I do okay. I'm probably just way too hard on myself, but I want to improve and, do work whenever I can. I tend to be someone who's just like, when I'm with my son, I want to just be there with him all the time. Like I become way too aware of just like his childhood as a whole. And, like as if every single moment he's going to remember that moment as defining his whole childhood, like I get scared that like every once in a while I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not hanging out with him. He's going to think I was never around, like I know that's not true, but I feel sometimes.
But you're right though. I mean, like when I think about my childhood, there's like it's like a handful of moments for some weird reason. I mean, if you actually sat there and like tried to experience everything I could, because like memories are almost like folders on a computer. Like you have like these folders with these names on it. That, like it's like that's how you access that area of your life. Like if I think of like Tommy, I have like that folder of like that era of time, and if I start really pondering on it, I can think of like varying memories that I wouldn't be able to think of if I didn't just sit there and thought.
Sure, yeah.
So like, but yeah, like I agree. Like I can see that fear being real because I've had that thought with like Cammy and stuff. He's like, Cammy Chase and I have some really great moments, but then there's some moments where like she's just watching videos and I'm doing something. I'm busy doing something. I'm like, man, is she gonna think like I wasn't around enough? Like my dad was always drawing. My dad was always working. My dad was, never around to spend time with me. It's like, I really hope that's not the case. I mean, I'd like to think that I'm a better father than my father was. Right. And I mean, that should be the goal, even if your father was incredible. Like, even if your father was the best father in the world, your goal should still be to be a better father, or at least an equally as great father as him. So, like,
of course.
But yeah, like I can see how like I understand that anxiety. I mean, that's crossed my mind too. Yeah, my poor father, because like my father was like he was like a really good football player. And my brother and I are both huge. I mean, I'm like 6'4", like, 290, 300 pounds. Like my legs are huge. Like, and then my brother, same deal. Like Brandon is like taller than me, like same size, same build. And we're just like, hey dad, we're going to like play video games and draw. That's our plan. Like, that's what we're going to do with our lives. And he's just over there like sad.
No, he'll be proud. I mean,
no, he's proud. He
likes the stuff. He's part of the Facebook group, right?
It's just so you don't know how many times I'm like, oh, did you play football? Like, I get, I'm like, absolutely. No, actually, I was playing music and drawing pictures.
I was in the talent show.
Lost to these two droolers, as Rufio would say. R.I.P.
Spoiler alert for Hook. So. Oh,
Looky, I got Hooky. But he didn't have Hooky. That's the problem, Rufy.
Yeah, I don't get that at all. Okay, something else I realized recently, Steven? Something that just occurred to me as a this adult person. I'm not even kidding. Dude, it's so dumb. It's so dumb, just speaking of lines that don't actually make sense, that you're like, that's so cool when you're young. Mm-hmm. Men in Black, Will Smith says, NYPD. It means I'll knock your punk ass down. Knock starts with a K, buddy.
We just accepted it.
Totally.
Why did you have to shatter that glass for me? Why did you do that? Now Men in Black is sullied forever. Now I'm going to go on Twitter. Now I'm going to complain about how I dislike that entire trilogy. Something I've been thinking about is it was something we kind of touched on even earlier in this very episode, but like that we're trying to leap to the end, right? We're there's obviously going to be a beginning, a middle, and an end. There's going to be chapters of this progress, this story. What do you think it's going to look like? Because here's the thing, like unless we're extremely fortunate and extremely lucky, it's not going to go from us working where we work and then suddenly us not working where we work. It's probably going to be like some sort of hybrid where we take off more days during the week because now we're making money from this, but we still need to supplement income. So like, I think that's what's going to look like, right? That's what I was thinking. Like, it's probably eventually going to be me working less days at once so I can continue to feed the other more because we're making enough here to do that now.
That would be that's the best case scenario. Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, what my hope is that basically I want to do the math for crowdfunding so that I can pay you a page rate that would be appropriate for all the work that you're doing. And I think that's like the fairest way to go. I don't know. I've never even considered like what's fair as far as like what writers get. I always just imagine we're going to split everything 50-50 no matter what.
Dude, and if you want to call it now, like that's how I've always been like, he's kind of majority of the story writing and stuff. I kind of feel wrong just drawing his ideas and like, but like the 50-50 is how I've always like thought of it and thought it would be great that way because we both contribute. That's the thing. Like I'm not the only one coming up with like drawings and like perspectives and shots and like you're not the only one necessarily coming up with every piece of dialogue and things like that. So no, yeah, dude, I if you want to use this episode as our contractual agreement, I am completely down with 50-50.
Yeah, I have no like. I'm like I said, I'd be happy if this was just what we did forever and we just made stuff.
No, but I'm just saying, like, I'm totally cool with that.
Yeah, of course. I'm always okay with just splitting it, but splitting it right down the middle. But whatever happens, like I said, so with my plan right now is just to make sure that it's a good enough book and successful on like the crowdfunding so we can get whatever profit there is to you to pay for those pages at the very least, like to supplement that time and just hopefully have enough we're trying to have enough to print like an initial run and get the book around. And then we're just going to put the book out, through Amazon, put the book, the Indie Planet, like, everywhere we can online that we'll distribute however we can.
At dinner last night, I was just still making jokes about ostrich farms, and like I'm just a big lovable guy. Like when I start talking, when I start saying things like so like the conversation with Tina is becoming
how many ostriches?
Yeah, like so what's their demeanor?
Right.
How much do they eat? Once you start asking questions like that, yes. I mean I got it.
The hook is in.
The hook is in. So like, but I was reading and I guess ostriches are like loving birds, which I didn't know. I thought they would just be, hate monsters and I would just have to like tame them with my hammer. But like, I guess they're like really loving to like their farmers. Like, what they're not loving to is like complete strangers. So I told
we have to be best friends with
Tim, like we basically have like 7-foot guard dogs. Like what we have. Like we buy like 4 ostriches and it's just like you break in, they're gonna kill you. Like
I love it.
You're gonna have a bad time, Bob. But yeah, like then she started. She said, "What about food?" I was like looking it up. I was like, "Man, babe, we could even have an avocado tree because these things." Dude, did you know ostriches will eat lizards and rodents? Like if they come across it, they're just gonna go and just like, of course, why wouldn't they? They're a giant bird. But like, But anyways, so what do you think you're going to accomplish before I talk to you again?
Ooh, okay. What my plan is for this next week is I'm actually going to be super ambitious this week and just finish. I'm going to okay, but here's the thing. When I say finish, like I've been writing these chapters for you to read. I'm writing all of the panel descriptions and all of the dialogue. But I still have a narration that I'm gonna write. I've been saving that for last because I've been intentionally leaving like knowing where it's gonna be, but not worrying about it because I know I'm gonna focus the most on that once all of your stuff is to you.
Which there's been like little spaces on some of the panels I've been doing where I've been wanting to fill, but you know what? There's gonna be a narration. I'm gonna be able to cram a lot of. I'm just gonna. I have a. There's enough busyness going on with I'll have plenty of fill with the font. So
Yeah, for sure. So my plan for this week, Atlas goes with his mom this week.
Ooh.
For 2 days, but in those 2 days, I'm not doing anything. I'm not dating. I'm just gonna go to work and write on this thing, So if I can peel myself away from Twitter, I'll just write the rest of the book. So hang on. Yeah, it's just 2 chapters. It's just 2 chapters to write.
So you're gonna finish writing it.
I'm gonna finish. What's your plan?
I'm gonna finish page 3
Okay,
for
cool.
sure. Like I said, like I even told you earlier, you might even be able to just show page 3 right now.
Let's just do it. I'll at least show whatever you feel comfortable sending me by like the next.
The blues are done, so I mean, the blues are basically done. So yeah, so it seems like we have a pretty good game plan.
Yeah.
I think we're good.